I think a lot of us dream of being able to draw just about anything from imagination and for it to look really good. The reality is sadly a little different, a little more disappointing to say the least. So how can we actually learn to become better at drawing from imagination? In this video you will learn exactly how to, and yes, this is also for those of you who struggle with aphantasia. So for this little experiment, I'll give myself 7 days to learn how to draw a fox from imagination. You can do this for any animal or anything you would like to learn. The fox is just one of my favorite animals, so I thought it would be a great start. The first step we can take to get acquainted with our subject is to study and break it down into the most simple shapes. So I went on Pinterest to search for reference images of a real fox. Looking at all of the details at once can be quite overwhelming. Instead, I focused on learning to draw them with very simple geometric forms and really understand how they're built. After tracing the first one, I studied different poses from references, trying to understand how a fox is built. I tried to simplify their structure and see the bigger shapes. However, I struggled quite a bit with this process, especially with the legs and paws, but let's see how my first practice drawings turned out. So this is day 1. I think some of them actually turned out nice, like those. And some of them didn't turn out as well, like this one. What in the world are you? While some things didn't really work out so well, I definitely got a better understanding of their structure, and I'm really curious what my foxes will look like at the end of the week. The problem we're having when it comes to drawing something from imagination is that there's basically a lack of knowledge about our subject. We need to fill our mental library with information first. And let's say you struggle with aphantasia, meaning you can't really picture anything in your inner eye. It still works the same way. You may not see it, but you are filling your mental library with information that you remember when it comes to drawing them without a reference. This time I took the sketches from day 1 and started to paint in some basic values. I started with a mid-tone grey and then painted in the lighter and darker features of a fox for each sketch. Through that repetition and focus on those features, I truly feel like I'm starting to understand better how a fox is built. Also, painting in some basic light and shadows helped me to start seeing the structure more in 3D volumes instead of just a flat 2D drawing. So this is day 2 of the challenge, and first of all, I like how they turned out. They are actually cool drawings, I think. And it was a really useful exercise because it makes you remember where the white parts as well as the darker parts of the fox are located, and also, as mentioned before, it makes you think a little more in 3D volumes because you're thinking about how light and shadow would behave around those shapes, which again improves our understanding of the fundamental structure. After we focused on breaking down foxes into simple geometric shapes on the first 2 days, it was now time to redraw them with more free-form, flowy lines. I tried to be very loose with my pen and make longer, more dynamic lines. No chicken scratches. I did actually struggle a little more with this approach, but it was a really interesting exercise where I feel like I automatically also dived into a little bit of stylization already. I then also added some values again. Let's have a look how they turned out. So this is day 3 of the challenge. You can definitely see the more flowy ones. They do have a little more life in them. They're very dynamic, but at the same time, the more angular ones have a very specific, interesting style as well. Let me know in the comments what style you guys prefer. So it is day 4 and I decided to drink a smoothie out of a fox cup. Then I decided to sit down on my PC and have a real close look at a reference and analyze it. analyze it real well. And then let's close our eyes. Can you still remember what the fox looked like? Can you draw it from memory? That was the exercise that I did on day 4, just taking a few minutes to look at a reference and analyze it, and then take it away and try to draw what I remembered. They definitely turned out a little worse than when I was studying from references, but that's quite normal and I can still see some progress. It was a cool exercise that I can really recommend you try. It makes you observe the details a little closer than usual. Also, I kinda like this one. Now, we basically learned how to draw a fox. It definitely takes some more time to really get it down. The more you do it, the more you remember in your mind how it is constructed. Now, to bring it to the next level, we bring in style. Learn the rules before you break them. We learned the rules, sort of. Now let's have fun and break them. Let's bring in style, and first, let's see how other people stylize their work. So first, I'm gathering references of specific styles of stylization that I really enjoy and can get inspired by. I'm using PureRef to create a little mood board. There I can just drag and drop in my pictures. I then did some analyzing and studying from the mood board that I created. I was really excited to finally dive into stylization, since that's how I would love to be able to draw them. With stylization, you can be really expressive and exaggerate shapes, emotions, or intentions. That's what I really like about animation. Doing those studies, I also noted down what I realized or appreciated about the different styles. So next, I can try and draw them in my own unique way. But first, let's have a look at how these turned out. So this is day 5 of the challenge. You can see the notes I've written down. Here, I really like the flowy shape and the fluffed tail. This one's really expressive and Disney-like. I do like the angular versus round shapes. I also like very dynamic poses and thin legs. Also, look at this one. It's just adorable. It was now time to take a reference and try to draw them in my own style. I learned a lot from day 5 and applied some of my favorite stylization features, like focusing on the contrast between angular and flowing shapes and making them really expressive. I also played with line weight, adding variation between thicker and thinner strokes, and for the first time I even experimented with color. Overall, this was one of the most fun days for me. Let's have a look at how some of my other practice pieces turned out. So this is day 6. You can see how I implemented some more features like expressiveness, really put some focus on the shape language. I even feel like my legs finally improved a little, and I also experimented with different colors. I actually had an easier time bringing them into my own style than I thought, which probably comes from my fundamental practices from before. So now, on to day 7. It was finally time to test my skills. After 1 week of practice, am I now actually ready to draw a fox from imagination? So this time, without any reference, I followed the steps we practiced, starting with simple geometric shapes to construct the body. I was pretty happy with the result and wanted to see if I can adjust the pose a little too. So I made 2 more. After adding quick values, I chose the one looking downwards and then took my time to work out a more refined, flowy, stylized version of my initial sketch, which was really fun. So something that I learned about stylization and drawing from imagination. The most important thing is to understand the basic structure and memorize it in a simplified way. From there on, you can break it and exaggerate things and have fun. I then finally brought the drawing to life, painting in some colors and simple lighting, which is just a nice way of presenting your drawing that doesn't take a lot of time or effort. So now let's see the final result. Here's the before and after of my 7-day challenge. I even added a little friend that the fox is looking at. What do you think of the final outcome, and did this video inspire you to learn and draw something yourself? Feel free to let me know in the comments down below, or if you have any feedback on how to improve these kind of videos for the next challenge. I'm currently working on this artwork right here. Feel free to follow me on social media to stay up to date. I'm actively posting there again. And if you've come this far, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And make sure to subscribe to the channel for more. Then I'll see you next time.